Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, December 10th. Welcome to another episode of Together San Diego. I'm Luis Cruz, Community Relations Director at the San Diego Union-Tribune. And joining me this afternoon is humanitarian and board-certified plastic surgeon and now author, Dr. Munish Batra. Dr. Batra, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. You are a busy man. You are releasing a new thriller novel next month titled Animal, Who is the Real Animal? Tell us about the book and why you decided to write it.
So part of my passion and, when I went to college was to become a writer, but my parents, who were, Indian immigrants, basically had said, you're going to either become a physician or an engineer. So I went the route of becoming a doctor. And I wanted to get back to my passion of writing. And during my days as a general surgeon and trauma resident, I started taking a lot of notes just to get back to them later. And also, once I became a plastic surgeon and a craniofacial surgeon, I opted to go to third world countries to do humanitarian missions. Went to the tsunami when that happened to the south coast of India. Went to the Nepali earthquake and several other missions in between. And on one of my missions, I had gone to China. And one of the things that happened during that mission was I was in a backstreet marketplace and, saw the carcasses of dogs hanging. And that kind of left an imprint on me. And I realized that, we can be very cruel and very brutal to animals, and that got my wheels turning about creating a novel about someone who actually is out there to protect animals.
Now, every occurrence of animal cruelty dramatized in the novel is based on undocumented real-world events. Talk about that.
Yeah, so there, I did a lot of research and did a deep dive into what happens to animals. And part of the genesis of this was my son, Ayan, who's a brilliant 7-year-old, way ahead of his, there he is, way ahead of his time in terms of reading. And he started asking philosophical questions about animal cruelty and extinction. And he stopped eating meat at the age of 3 for some unknown reason, but has been fascinated with animals. And that became some of the genesis for me to write the novel, because I thought, in his lifetime, our elephant's going to go extinct. As we already know, some of the rhino, the white rhino has gone extinct. And then I did a deep dive into what is happening across the world, and you see instances even locally when they were getting the orcas for the SeaWorld. They killed a bunch of baby orcas and filled their bellies with rocks to try to get them to drown, so people wouldn't be aware of it until the carcasses came to the surface. In Africa, they hunt gorillas, and basically it's called bushmeat. But people take the hands as a prize and use the hands as ashtrays. And in this country, we see dogfighting rings, and we see cruelty to other species. But this novel is based also on some of the cruelty that goes into poaching elephants and rhinos. And the twist in the novel, really, which comes from my own background as a craniofacial surgeon, is that the vigilante does to the people what they do to the animal. So when they take the tusks out of an elephant, the vigilante goes in and he takes their midface off with a pair of row forceps, which we use in craniofacial surgery to disimpact the face. When they are skinning tigers for their skin, the vigilante goes in and he skins these people alive, which it sounds disturbing and cruel, but in reality, we're doing this to these species, and I thought it would be impactful. So that's the twist in the novel.
And you drew on your own experience as a plastic surgeon to make certain scenes in Animal are more realistic.
Absolutely, as a plastic surgeon and also as a former trauma surgeon and general surgeon, there's a scene in the book which is a lot of people have read that is disturbing about a guy being force fed in the same way that some animals are force fed to make their livers fatty and get them bigger, and his intestines come burst apart. And as a trauma surgeon, I saw stuff like that, where traumatic injuries where intestines would come apart, and uh, you know uh, gangrenous bowel and things like that. So it stayed with me.
Hmm. What are you hoping people take away from reading your book?
So the hope is, number one, that we bring a little bit of visibility to how we're treating this planet, how we treat animals. Doing research on this has changed my own behavior. But one thing I've come to recognize is that animals are sentient beings, and anyone who owns a pet dog or owns a horse knows that they're intelligent, they have emotion, they have fear, and part of it is to make that more aware to people, so that hopefully people will think twice about animal cruelty issues, twice about some of the things going on to these species. I'm not a fan of horse racing, for example, but people enjoy it, and to me that's a cruel thing to do, to end up using hormones to make them bigger, and forcing them to do things that they may otherwise not be doing in their own peaceful existence. So the hope is to bring some visibility. The hope is for people to get thinking about some of the things we're doing to these sentient beings and maybe change behavior.
Talk a little bit about the writing process. How long did it take you to write the book? Where did you even find the time?
So I mentioned my son Ayan. So he was about 3 years old when I started the novel. And in fact, one of the things that was another impetus for the novel was when Blackfish came out. It only added to the credibility of what I was doing. So Ayan was born. My other son was about 18 months at the time, and they would go off to sleep at 10 o'clock. And at the time, I was still doing trauma at the hospital. So I was used to waking up and doing things in the middle of the night. So I started penning all this, and actually started by creating what's called a treatment, which anybody out there who knows what a treatment is, it's basically to create a movie. And so the treatment started first, and I wrote a movie about this subject matter, which was a 22-page synopsis. That movie idea got picked up by Tony Eldridge, who's a producer of the Equalizer movies with Denzel Washington, and it was only after that I actually started the novel process, and it would be in the wee hours of the morning. I had some help also from the co-author Keith DeCandido, who does a lot of police detective type features in his novels, and he was very helpful in me helping get my thoughts together and also to organize this.
Yeah, so talk a little about that. The movie rights for Animal have already been picked up. That must be exciting for you.
It is exciting, but none of that really makes a difference unless you've got a budget to make a movie. So he's out there shopping it. We're hoping to get someone to step up, and it's going to be an independent film. This isn't stuff that studios in Hollywood are going to do, but the topic Tony felt was very relevant, because there's so many animal lovers in this country, and we spend over $60 billion a year taking care of our cats and dogs, and anyone who owns a pet knows how vital that pet is to their own life. So there's an audience out there for this. I'm not out there saying people should go and kill people that do stuff like this. But what I'm saying is that, my vision is that there is somebody out there protecting animals, and people should think twice about, getting involved in the ivory trade, for example. Yeah, ivory, we use it for, decorations and things, but is it really worth killing an elephant and taking the tusk off that elephant to get there?
Yeah, a lot to think about there. Talk a little bit about your work doing humanitarian missions. We have a a picture here of one of your missions.
Yeah, so that's actually a picture of my when I had gone to Nepal during the earthquake. So I'm part of a society called the American Society of Indian Plastic Surgeons. The guy next to me on the other side of the Buddhist monk is Dr. Vishast, and he's in New Jersey. But we're a group of doctors from all around the country that go to India, Nepal, and other countries to do humanitarian work, taking care of burn injuries, taking care of congenital birth defects. And during the earthquake, there was a lot of reconstructive work that needed to be done for people that were burned, that had reconstructive needs from scarring. And we did a lot of that work in Nepal. We were actually also at that point working with Doctors Without Borders. And, unfortunately, one of during one of that mission, one of the Doctors Without Borders, a helicopter crash and a pediatrician was killed. So these things always bring some sense of fraught danger with it. But I think we all believe that if we have the talent to do this kind of work, we should continue to do it.
That's great. What's next for you, Doctor? Are you planning to write more books?
Yeah, so I've actually have 4 novels in the works. The next one is called Pigman, and that is based on some of the. So all of my novels are somewhat dystopian medical novels, and Tony Eldridge, the guy who picked up the rights for the movie, he remarked to one of the studios that some of the things I have are similar to what Michael Crichton would have been doing, but Pigman is actually about gene editing. We're on the cusp of using CRISPR technology to edit human genome and make designer babies, and Pigman is about how that can go wrong. Another novel I'm writing is called Stem Cells, and that novel has to do with utilization of embryonic stem cells and how they're used in the brain for dementia and how they may still carry memories. And a 4th novel I'm working on is called Medical Madness, which is actually a lot to do with my own life story as a surgeon, starting as a medical student and then becoming a trauma surgeon and then going on to plastic surgery, and some of the ethical and dilemmas and the challenges we faced as surgeons, because in my day of training, there was no such thing as an 80-hour work week. We were working 100, 110 hours a week, and it shaped a lot of the surgeons during that generation, and this is a novel about some of those things.
I don't know where you find the time, but I'm looking forward to it. So tell me, where and when can people buy the book? I understand a portion of the proceeds from the book will help to benefit the San Diego Humane Society and other animal sanctuaries.
Yeah, so, knock on wood, I've been very fortunate. I have a busy plastic surgery practice, and coming from a small village in India where I didn't even have shoes or running water, in a place where I could have never imagined. So writing for me is a passion. The proceeds from these books, whether it's Animal or some of the other books, we're going to give to the right charitable organization. So with Animal, we're donating to the San Diego Humane Society, and we're going to also do a donation at the level of the National Humane Society. My hope is that people understand that the money they're putting in to buy this novel will go to will be of benefit to shelter animals, to save animals, and ultimately, if the book is successful, I think it'll benefit these types of organizations.
All right, Dr. Batra, is there anything else you would like to add?
I just want to say I appreciate you having me on. Yes, we're busy in surgery. We're busy dealing with COVID. We're busy with a lot of things as doctors. But I appreciate the time to talk a little bit about what my other passion is besides plastic surgery. And, hopefully, if this becomes a movie one day, we'll have you come to the red carpet with me.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Once again, the book is Animal, Who is the Real Animal? And you can find it at animalthebook.com. sanctuaries.com. Again, it's being released. You can pre-order it now, correct?
Yeah, you can pre-order it on Amazon. It's been released by Wordfire Press, which is a publishing house that did Star Wars and Dune novels. And there's an audiobook that'll be coming out shortly as well.
All right. That's good stuff. Looking forward to that. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Munish Batra, author, humanitarian, and board-certified plastic surgeon. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And your audience.
And thank you at home for watching. Have a great day, everybody.
News is more important today than ever before.
I'm currently outside Otay Mesa Detention Center.
I'm about to get a report at Sharp.
Out at Sunset Cliffs.
COVID testing site.
We live for these times when we're able to bring the news into the homes of people who need it the most.
I thank all of you for supporting our work.
When you subscribe to the paper, you're telling us that you believe